welcome to episode 44 of Coach's Corner. I am Coach Justin.
And I am Coach Ethan.
And we are your trusted hosts. In case you don't know who we are, we have 20 years of experience each in the health and fitness world. Currently, I own a business online where we take healthcare professionals and give them accountability and support and structure so they can lose weight and be healthy. And Ethan has a gym here in LA where he does a lot of the similar stuff in person. But we've known each other for a long time. We came together to make this show for all of our dozens of listeners out there to just try to distill what we know to be true about health and fitness and try to put it in a way that makes sense, that doesn't tap into too much dogma or our own bias, but really just like how can you get from where you are to where you want to be in the most streamlined way possible that feels organic and natural, and that's kind of what we do here.
Yeah,
right?
Good tools.
So today, by the time this episode will be released, we've done some serious calculations, and we've realized this will come out around Christmas, give or take.
Week of.
So what we're going to do is just sort of like talk about today how we can take most advantage of our time and how we can really maximize that last week of December where most people just tend to completely check out.
Yep. Off of work.
But it could be an opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to break down today. So you have some strategies if you're going to go back home, if you're hanging out at home, if you're doing wherever you are, like there's something that can be done.
Always.
To keep you in momentum so we can continue to, build this lifestyle. So, Ethan.
Yes.
Where are you going to be for Christmas this year?
Oh, geez. I don't know.
Really?
At this point, yeah.
Up in the air.
Yeah,
plans have changed.
I was potentially going to be in Mexico. I might still be in Mexico. I don't know at this point. If I'm not in Mexico, I might go home to see my mom, which is what I would normally do. But I don't know if it makes sense to buy tickets this late. We'll see.
Yeah.
So the reason being that is my 40th birthday is 2 days after Christmas. Mm-hmm. So it's the December 27th.
The forgotten birthday.
Truly the forgotten birthday. Mm-hmm. So potentially we'll be in...
Mexico?
Yeah, no.
What's that place called?
Hobart. It's I can never remember the name, but it's like a small island up north of Cancun, off the northern coast of Mexico in the Caribbean Sea.
Oh, pretty cool.
There's no cars on the island.
Wow.
You take a boat, you can do like little golf carts or bikes. Very, very small, but
that sounds really cool.
That's the projected plan as of right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's just say that is where I will be.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah, we're doing this a classic Midwest Hallmark movie Christmas, but the
big city boy.
Yeah, going back to small town.
Gonna save the orphanage with a secret pie recipe that your mom gave you.
Totally. Yeah.
In the cooking competition for the $50,000 check.
You know it. But wherever you find yourself, I think that. All the conversations we're having right now with our clients are all around like strategizing for December and making sure that they keep a bead on their health and fitness. And I think that I'm going to go off a little bit of a tangent, but when we ask anyone, hey, what are the top 3 most important things in your life? And not in any order, it could be like my family, my finances, and my health.
Yep.
Mix and match depending on the person where they're at in their life, but those tend to be the top 3 most important things in their life, right?
That question, yeah.
So we spend however many years in college to learn a skill. We then spend how many hours per day for decades working on our career. We spend evenings, weekends, holidays with family. We spend so much time on the other 2 things that are most important to us, but yet fitness and our health just tends to be the one that we all agree is probably top 3, but we tend to, it's the first thing to go as soon as anything happens.
Always.
Like Christmas.
Yeah.
It's the thing that we continue to postpone taking action on because although we all agree it's important, it's not urgent.
Yeah, there's no immediacy.
If I don't work out today, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and be the same.
Yeah, it's not like the mortgage won't get paid or your rent won't get paid.
So I just feel like Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, birthdays, vacations are an opportunity to prove to yourself and to cement the identity that you all want that you are a healthy, fit person who does all the things that healthy, fit people do. And I'll tell you right now, I don't know hardly any healthy, fit people that take December off.
Yeah, especially not the month.
No.
Right. I mean, how many people are in the aftermath of Thanksgiving where, you had the vacation.
It's just like,
and you're just riding that like, oh, I didn't exercise. I drank a lot. I ate a lot. And now I don't want to do anything. And like, oh, I've only got a couple weeks until I'm off. I've got these holiday parties.
We'll revisit this in the new year.
Yeah.
And then here's what happens. You probably do start something in the new year. But I'm willing to bet that if you're the type of person who waits until January to start, you're probably also the type of person who tends to, for some reason or other, quit around spring. Fall off the wagon summer, fall, ramp it back up for New Year's, and then this vicious cycle tends to repeat itself. And if that is you, and for the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years, you've actually declined, then I would challenge you to investigate that belief system that has this conditioned response to start again in the new year, because it's a vicious cycle that feels new every year, but the numbers don't lie, and it's not working.
Right, just because the calendar is a new month.
The obesity rate continues to climb.
Yep.
And so it's like, we got to break that habit. And I think that the best way to do it is to look at a holiday like Christmas as an opportunity to stop I'll push it off to next year, and look at it of like, what can I do?
Right.
What can I do this week that I'm off, right? So that's the conversation that we're having right now with a lot of our clients who are, I can feel them. They're like,
the screws on the ship are rattling a little bit.
I'll just, this month's so crazy. I just had a call today. This month's so crazy. I got this and I got that and I got family and I got dinners and all these things. Maybe, what if I just like picked it up and I'm like, no.
Right, because it's right.
No.
Yeah.
What can you do? So here are 3 strategies that I gave this person, and I use myself. And option A, you can just go fucking hard with cutting calories. And right now we're recording this in like early December. It might not come out until later December, so this might not be relevant by the time this was released, but you can use this for the next holiday or vacation or whatever.
Yeah.
Leading up to the thing, just go hard. Practice crazy discipline and restraint for 2-3 weeks. Yeah. And just like build up a little momentum, a little equity, so that will coast you through the vacation, the holiday, the whatever. Name your thing. That's option A. That's kind of the tougher option.
Yes,
Option B, which is the one I'm doing, is I'm not going to try to bulk. I'm not going to try to cut. I'm just going to bring myself up to maintenance calories, which is about 2,800 calories a day, and just maintain. Just maintain and just not try to not try to lose fat because we're going out to dinner a lot. There's events, there's all these things. I'm not trying to bulk because, bulking is I just don't like the way I look when I bulk.
Right.
Like I just don't feel good.
You're not going to do it anyway. Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'll do in the future, I'll do like a little tiny one for for 8 weeks, but like, I just can't do these like big bulks anymore. I'm just getting too old. It doesn't work for me. I just feel like shit.
Yeah.
But maintaining is good. And that's what I'm doing. It's just easy. Just, call a spade a spade. It's hard. It's just, let's just bring your calories up to maintenance and just chill for the next few weeks and then make a decision in January which way to go. But that doesn't mean that I'm not tracking calories,
right?
Adding weights and reps to my workouts for progression each week. Like I'm still in it. I'm just not trying to like recomp anything.
You're not moving the needle.
Yeah.
Just making sure the needle doesn't move.
Just give myself permission to just eating, somewhere around 3,000 calories, not going to gain much fat, not going to build any muscle, just kind of chill for the next few weeks. That makes sense to me. And so that's what I recommend to this guy as well. And then option 3 is to do some sort of like calorie cycling, where if every weekend or you have these big events coming up, go ahead and just have a couple of really low days per week.
Yeah.
Like crazy low, like where you're only like eating like 1,000, 1,500 calories, because you're going to triple that on, the 3 Christmas parties or the Christmas Eve and Christmas Day with everyone's got the eggnog out and the big ribeye roast or whatever.
Yeah, you just how it is.
So you're going to have 4,000 or 5,000 calories. Isn't it funny that nobody has an issue like plowing through 4,000 or 5,000 calories, but everyone would be up in arms to try to suggest to have one or 2 days of only 1,000 calories.
Oh, well, it's because it's indulgence versus restriction.
Yeah,
easier, right? You're just like, I can. our little reptilian brainstem's like, yes, we're not gonna die. More, eat the steaks, eat the things. Yeah.
It's just so funny. But so those are like the three main ones that I would recommend to just about anybody. I think for most people, it's like, for most, like, I think reasonable people, if you're in a diet, and let's just assume that means you're maybe in somewhere around like a 500 calorie deficit, maybe 300 to 500 calorie deficit per day. Like, sometimes that extra 300 to 500 is kind of like all you really need. That might mean a couple extra drinks. That might mean, a couple extra dinners out that week. That, like that might buffer and just calm people's minds enough. But the other two options work as well. They're just harder and you need to be a little bit more disciplined.
100%. Yeah. Especially for the extreme calorie restriction ahead of time. Probably give you the best results in terms of like your weight gain.
Yeah. And that's like your intention. Like, do you want to, are you committed to like actually continuing your fat loss phase through December? Great. In that case, that might be a really good idea for you.
Yeah, 100%. And I think for me, like some of the things I think about, and I even see it in myself, is just like the capacity to maintain some type of tether to something. So if you already have a pre-existing goal, something you're participating with, you're already counting your calories, you're already on some type of a path. But I'd even say, and they're kind of two different things, but I'll just stick to that one, is that just not letting go completely.
Yeah.
Right. I think the inherent nature is to say, well, I'm so busy, the family, the parties, the this, is that to just want to let it all go. And I think it's human nature. It's like to want to just reprieve yourself of all responsibility with it. But it's just I think any degree of maintenance of patterns and habits is going to be beneficial.
Yeah.
Right? Like object in motion stays in motion, object at rest stays at rest. And so even if like, it's like you ever tried to push a car that's, stalled out in neutral. It's like when it's at a dead stop, it feels so heavy.
Inertia, man.
It's so hard to move. But man, a couple of steps, one person can actually push a car once it's rolling. Now that it's moving, you can just carry it along. And I think that even if the car or the proverbial car of our patterns and habits and mentality comes super close to a stop, but still has some type of roll to it, you'll be able to kind of keep that going that much easier. But if it comes to a complete stop where you abandon all practice and all just self reflection in terms of what are you doing and are you committing to something, it's going to be that much harder to start back up again. And so it's like, even if it's the lowest denominator of commitment, anything will be better than nothing. So if you find yourself in a commitment of taking a certain amount of steps every day and counting your calories and doing all this and protein and all this stuff, and all of it goes out, if you can at least just maintain your step requirement, even if it's just the bare minimum,
have some ritual every day,
something that is tied to the goal, because at least you have that little tether, that little toe in the door, if anything, to kind of keep it going, versus if you say, well, I do all these things now, but now that it's the holiday, it's just too much. And so I'm just going to let it all go. You're going to have to kind of basically start from scratch. And it's just going to be that much more difficult.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, never break the chain of habit.
Yeah.
And this is, it's so true. It's like you can slow it down, but once you come to that stop, the inertia of staying still is really hard to shake.
Really hard to shake. And that time might turn into 2 months, 3 months. Like it's amazing where that complete stop will just seed and fill out into so much more time. And days and weeks
because you've already allocated time. So now that you don't do that thing anymore,
right?
Our calendars tend to just fill with other shit. And so now it's like, oh, well, the 5 p.m. workout that I was doing 4 days a week, now I'm finding myself like doing some other hobby. And I'm like, now I have no other time. And you have to kind of like refigure everything.
Yeah, you gotta do the classic. Like, I don't have any time in my schedule. You're not gonna find time. You have to make time. You gotta do it all over again. You gotta cut something else out. You gotta rearrange. You gotta, And oftentimes I feel like the creature comforts come in during this time, where it's more TV watching.
Yeah,
it's more social time, and all that's fine. But it's just, if that, like you just said, replaces the things you used to do, then.
Yeah.
You're kind of, you're having at a place to not only have to like build the willpower to do the things again, which is always a challenge. It's always hard to work out. It's always hard to choose what to eat. But then you also have to fight, like you said, finding the new time and creating the ability, the room to even do the hard decision. So it's like a double hard decision. It's like a double effort game that you're playing now. Whereas if you can just keep something, if you can just watch what you eat in some capacity, maybe the scale doesn't come out of the cupboard, but you're at least looking at your portions when you go to a dinner party and saying like, okay, like, I had one portion of this ribeye steak I don't need to go for a second one.
Yep.
Or something. Anything, right?
Yeah. I just think that like I always kind of go back to like, how do you see yourself? Like what's the highest version of you? What's your higher self look like to you? Like crushes it every day, like never misses. Like what's that version? So it's like, how do we just continue to align our decisions? We'll never reach that. No one's ever gonna be perfect. But the idea is to just keep trying to align your decision making with who the highest version of you would be. Best like way to figure this out is like what would like the highest version of Justin do? Would he skip this week? Would he just pick it up in January? Would he do? And the answer is kind of always no. And you're like, all right, well, like I don't feel like it. I didn't sleep well last night. I had too many drinks last night. All the million reasons in the world. But I'll tell you, like as hard as that resistance is to just keep it going, we all know after you warm up and you do your workout in that example, you're so happy you did. Like no one ever just like goes, oh man, I really regret
that was terrible.
I really regret eating that salad and doing my workout today.
I feel worse after I've exercised.
Yeah, like said nobody, right?
Yeah, nobody.
So it's just keeping that in mind. As much, you're gonna feel the most resistance, this time of year before you're about to do the hard thing. But right on the other side of the hard thing is like a real sense of satisfaction.
Yeah.
A real just like, so glad I did that. But leading up to it is like, I'm tired, I'm traveling, we're jelly. But just on the other side of the hard thing is the state that you actually want to be in. So just remember that. It's just like keep that in your mind whenever you are trying to talk yourself out of doing the hard thing.
And I think it's like the opposite too, that there's a momentum fought against individuals in this time. In the same way that there's like a cultural momentum for New Year's, right? While the best time to start is now and not at some predetermined point. There's no perfect timing, but there is that cultural momentum with New Year's, and you might as well jump on the bandwagon, ride the wave of energetics that everybody in your workplace and around you is all kind of thinking about it in that way. But at the same time, I feel like the holidays are the opposite. There's a cultural stop. There's this momentum towards letting it all go. Everybody's wanting to stop. Everybody's on vacation.
Yes.
Everybody's at home stressed with their family or loving to see their family. They're either celebrating or running away.
Or commiserating.
Yeah, for real. So it's like I think awareness is key with everything, right? And so I think simply being aware of how jumping on the bandwagon momentum in a new year can be helpful. There's also if you have the awareness that there's a momentum of laxity or fuck it mentality during the holidays, that without awareness of that, you might get caught up in the current and you might not realize it, and you might swim with the current versus against it. But I think if you have at least some understanding that current exists, you can do your best to step outside of it or swim against it, even if you just stay in the same place. But, it's easy to get caught up, I think. And, somebody brought cookies.
Yeah.
They brought this to work or they did that.
And, I don't think that this could ever be, I don't think December is ever the month where you're like, where anyone's ever perfect.
No. And
but I think that like, to your point, you'd be a fool to deny the symbolic meaning of a new year. It is a new chapter, and that's okay. It's not like we're not saying like you can't have a New Year's goal, or you're just another sheep in the herd if you wait till January to start, bro. Like we're not saying that. It's just more of like, don't let that be the excuse for you to fuck off for an entire month, because no, I'm gonna really crush it in January, so it's cool. I'm gonna crush it.
It's whatever. I'll gain the 5 pounds, and
because
it won't be a big deal.
You're done by April. If that's the kind of attitude you have, you're done by April, man.
Yeah.
And so it's like, what can I do in December? If it's just going to be like 15-minute HIIT workouts at home, if it's going to be just walks, if it's going to be just like bringing calories up to maintenance, or maybe not even tracking calories, but just, trying to, only have proteins and vegetables for the first half of the day. So, it's like little things like that.
Any type of moderation. Like if somebody brings cookies to work, I'll have half a cookie. I'll have one cookie, but you don't have 3 cookies throughout the workday.
Yeah.
Just some form of self-awareness.
Yeah.
And decision-making. That's
because
like, even if I deviate a little bit, I won't deviate a lot, right?
Totally. Because if you can do that, like if you can actually practice some form of self-discipline and restraint and keep that chain of habit intact through December, I would bet money on you that you won't be the person who quits by April.
Right.
I would bet money that if you can prove to yourself that you can get through a hard month, then when we go into spring and then summer and then fall, you're gonna like that foundation is what's going to propel you forward. It's like you're teaching yourself how to keep it. When you learn how to work for something, I should say, when you teach yourself how to work for something, meaning like, hey, this is a hard month. It's not just so easy. I actually have to try and work for this. Let me think through this. Okay, if I did this day and I moved that around, and instead of working out at 4, I can work out at 7. Okay, and you're actively trying. You're actively participating and teaching yourself, okay, how do I make this work?
Right.
What you're also doing is teaching yourself how to keep it. Because when you learn how to work for something, you also learn how to keep it. Because if you're just waiting for the right fucking time, well then guess what? Even if that magical moment happens where the sky's clear and the sun shines through and you have nothing but uninterrupted space in your calendar, even if that fairy tale land actually happens, the reality is that once it's gone, you're not going to know how to keep it. It's like someone who wins the lottery and who doesn't have any money management skills. That a year later they're broke because they didn't know how to keep the money. They didn't teach themselves how to work for it. Therefore, they haven't taught themselves how to keep it. And I think it's the same thing. So these hard months are character building. You don't have to be perfect, but you just can't quit. You just can't not do it. You can't bullshit yourself that you're going to wait until January and then crush it, because we all know what's going to happen.
Right, you got to try to
Gyms
try.
are empty by March. Everyone
you
knows
gotta
that.
try, right? Yeah. That's the whole thing. You just can't let it go. And I think, it depends, because whatever your goal is, I think it's just whatever habit, like Justin was saying, whether it's a 15-minute HIIT workout or just a at-home workout you do with your bands or some body weight squats and push-ups. If it's fitness is your goal, you just can't stop doing anything for your body.
Yep,
Take
never.
an online yoga class, go to YouTube. There's plenty of them, right?
Yeah.
And if it's weight loss, then it's just paying attention to your portions, having some form of restriction, putting into strategies of reducing calories the day of, you have a work dinner or some type of big dinner event or whatever it might be, and just never letting go of some accessible path, because there's always something. There's always one little step in the staircase that we can take. And I think it's just a matter of, do you take the step versus seeing the potential step and just not choosing to take it, and
or just not paying attention to anything and just like letting life just fucking mow you down like a fire hose. You're just like, I don't know. It's like, are you captaining your journey here, or are you just going with like wherever the tides take you, man? And it's like, if you just get caught up in it, it is hard. It's very it's not going to end well for most people who just let life take them for a ride. It's like, you have to be the master of your domain. And that quite literally, when you break that down into like, well, what does that mean? It just means taking a second to be conscious and set an intention for the things that you say are important to you. So if money is important to you, like, what are your intentions around this? Like, what do you do? What's your system? If health is important and you say you want to lose weight or you want to improve your health or you want to get more muscle. Like, what are you actually doing about it, as opposed to saying it? So many people say that they know what to do, but then just continue to exist in this like state of conditioned responses. And there's very little active awareness and strategy. It's all just sort of like reactionary and conditioned responses. And 10 years goes by and you're like, whoa, like I've somehow convinced myself that like everything else was more important and it haven't happened yet. And it's just like, you gotta understand that that's your life.
Yeah. And
you only got about 40 or 50 good years,
right,
before you're an old feeble senior, that's like, well,
back in my day.
Yeah. So, heed the omens, guys. Like, don't
omens.
be the suckers that wait till January 1st to start and then quit by March. I mean, listen, we worked in gyms for years. Packed. January, packed.
Crazy how packed
February,
it is.
packed. March, less packed. April,
yeah.
May, dead.
Yeah, might as well. Only the true diehards at that point.
20 years of seeing this in gyms.
It is pretty amazing.
So it's like everyone thinks they're different. Everyone thinks they're so unique. Then there's just like these like overarching statistics, and you're just like, well,
Like another, that's what I was saying. Like another way to think about it is like if you do have a goal that you plan on January that you're putting off now, it's like just switching the mind frame of like, well, instead of like, oh, fuck it, I'll just pick it up in January. But like, no, in January, I want to lose 15 pounds or I'm going to get jacked or I'm going to start hitting the gym. It's like, can you create any momentum now? Any movement in that direction? Like if you don't do anything physically, you don't exercise, you do nothing, and you intend to start hitting the gym 3 times a week and do all this stuff, at least start going for a walk.
Because let me tell you what will happen. You aren't doing shit. I mean, most people who probably listen to this are doing something.
Probably.
Hopefully.
But
like if let's just say you're, okay, I'm going to go to the gym, 3-4 days a week starting January. Guess what? Everybody else is also going to be doing that. And so if you're not already doing that, you're going to feel so out of place because you're going to walk into a packed gym and everything's going to be taken. You're going to be walking around kind of like,
ain't
shit.
that the truth, right?
Are you done? You still got, okay. Classes will be full.
How do I use a machine? I don't get it.
Yeah,
Like,
had you just maybe gotten some dumbbells at home and some bands and just like went through the process of like learning proper movements with some YouTube videos and just doing some basic calisthenics at home, then you know what? You might walk in the gym feeling a little bit more confident and be like, okay, I know what I'm going to do now. I don't feel like I'm on the spot. And then that might be the thing that keeps you going because you actually feel like you're a little ahead of it. But if you just go in after months of nothing,
it's probably like and ironically, that's probably like the worst time to go to a gym.
Yeah.
To your point, right? Like everybody and their mom is in there. Nothing is available. It's just a chaotic shit show. You don't know what you're doing. It's just like you're gonna walk in and just be like,
I'm supposed to sit here and like give myself a hard workout.
Yeah,
like
what do I even do? Like I was,
yeah.
like
So versus if you were to go now, they're empty.
Oh, they're empty now.
Gyms are empty. So you actually, what if you just like, that is my goal for 2025. But what if I like got a 3-week head start, even a week, and just got acclimated a little more comfortable in that setting. So then when it is crazy, I'm like already kind of established here. I feel
You can actually like look at the machine and read the instructions because you don't know what's going on. Versus like it's packed and somebody finally got off and they didn't wipe their sweat down and you're like, and then you're like, I don't really know what to do with this. And so you're trying to figure it out. You want to ask somebody and you got like 2 people behind you being like, are you using that? And you're just like, oh, no, I'm not actually.
No, you can have it, man. It's cool.
I'll just go over here and I'll just walk on the treadmill, I guess.
Just stretch.
Yeah, I guess you could have walked anyways.
I know it. I'll never go back to a gym again. I'm looking at my squat rack right now, and that's one of the best decisions I made. Put a squat rack in a room. It's great. But anyways, so there you have it, guys. A little bit more philosophical today. Not so, a little tactic, but more like get the right headspace.
Mental.
More mental. Get like don't overthink it, but certainly like, man, just a little bit of forethought. A little bit of preparation really steers you clear and it will help you create some awareness on these patterns that you may have been stuck in for a while that have just not yielded the kind of results that you had hoped. So,
give yourself the best gift.
Self-discipline.
Health and wellness.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
But it's all the same.
So that was episode 44.
I believe so.
Coach's Corner with Justin
almost at that 50 mark.
And we will we'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.